We'll start by creating a small floor plan. You can use one of your own or create this one in level 1 using the wall tool. I'll use rectangle here to create a space. And then in the architecture tab, go to area and area plan. Here I'm going to change the type to gross building instead of rentable for level 1. I'll pick OK. And you're asked if you automatically want to create these boundary lines associated with these external walls as gross building area. And we do at first, so go ahead and pick yes. You'll notice right away that the blue line represents the gross here area on the outside walls and automatically will show you the square footage. In the project browser, we have a new plan here for your gross building area. Let's go to level 2, and in the level 2 view, we'll need to establish a floor in order to establish the rentable area. So we'll go to the architecture tab and under floor, pick floor architectural. Rest your pointer over one of the walls and then pick the tab key to select all the walls and then click. And then pick the green check mark to establish a basic floor. We'll pick yes to join the geometry. And now we can go back to the area plan and this time pick rentable and level 2 and pick OK. And then we do want to create the boundary lines associated with these walls. Pick yes. And you'll see the difference is that now the bold lines, bold bluish lines, are on the inside. We also have another here plan that's created in the project browser based on the rentable. There is some discussion on the differences between the floor plan levels and these area plans in the project browser. If you highlight level 2 and take a look at it, you won't see those blue lines anymore, but if you go over to the level 2 area plans, you'll see the blue lines. So the difference is here in the room and area panel, you have these tools for room separations and tags, and then you have this area for the boundaries and the room areas. In the level 2 area plan, here in the project browser, you'll see the blue lines that represent the runnable area. We can click on area and go to the area tool and notice here that it covers the entire area. I'm going to go ahead and click and it'll show you here using my escape key to get out of that what the entire area is here in the plan. If I start to draw walls and I have here a different space, the area is still showing all the way through that space. So we can use the area boundary tool to select these two walls and kind of separate these areas so that when we go back to the area tool, and we're still in the area plan here in level 2, and click on area, we'll be able to establish here the area for this different space because we use the area boundary to define the boundaries. Even after placing another wall in level 2 here, I can go to area boundary, and instead of selecting the lines or the walls, I can pick up the line tool and just draw here the line that will separate these areas based on the boundary. Now going back to area, I can establish a third area in my plan. So by using the area plans, you can establish the area for each one of these spaces. I'll go back to the level 2 floor plan here, and you'll see that the walls are in place. I can now establish my doors as an option. And now that I'm in the floor plan level 2, I can use here the room tool to select here my different rooms. If I wanted to separate the rooms and I wasn't concerned as much about the area plans, I could use this room separator that works in the same way as the area plans. Notice in the preview you can separate a room that doesn't have a wall, but you may want to establish different room titles. You can use the tag room tool to place a tag on a room that's already established but needs a tag. So let's go ahead and click on these individual rooms and give them different names. Before we create a schedule, I also want to point out to you that if you select one of these room tags and then pick Edit Type, you can still put a check mark under Show Area and then pick OK. And you'll see that your tags now will show the area under each one of the room titles. Now let's create a room area schedule. We're in the level 2 of floor plan. We can go over to the View tab, and under Schedules, we'll pick Schedule Quantities. There are several schedules here that we will take a look at. Let's pick Schedule Quantities. We have several categories for our new schedule. We're looking here for the one called Rooms for the category, and we can change the name of our schedule to Room Area Schedule and pick OK. And now we're establishing different fields, so you can highlight Name and pick Add, and Area and Add, and we might want to know the perimeter or the volume, but in this case I've always added a comments field in my schedules, so at a minimum I'll put name, area, and comments, and I'll pick number, and with one of these highlighted you can pick move up or move down to change the location of the different fields. We also have the different tabs that we've worked with before for formatting the way that the appearance of the schedule looks. Let's go ahead and pick OK. And now we have a small room area schedule based on the room number, the name, the area, and any comments that we might want to add. If we go to the View tab and pick Tile here under the Windows panel, you can see that we have a lot of views open. We can close out of some of those. Let's go ahead and only view the level 2 floor plan and the schedule. And what you'll see is that the two are linked together, so that if you select a wall and change the dimension, the schedule will update automatically. Also, if you select here one of your room names in the schedule, the room will highlight in the plan. We can create a sheet by right-clicking on Sheets here in the project browser, pick New Sheet. We'll pick the Load button, and under title blocks, we'll pick up a smaller sheet, maybe a 22 by 34, and pick OK. We can rename here the floor plan for level 2, highlight it, right click, pick rename. We'll rename it second floor. plan. And when you pick OK, it's going to ask you if you want to rename the corresponding views. Go ahead and pick yes. So the other views are going to be renamed. And now we can drag and drop those views onto our sheet, the plan and the schedule. If you highlight this view and right click and pick Activate View, you can select these elevation markers, right click and go to Hide in View and then Category, and then right click to deactivate the view. Select here the view and resize the title, and use these small grips in the schedule to resize the columns. Now let's create a cost estimate. We can go to Schedules and pick Schedule Quantities and still use the Room category. We'll call this Cost Estimate under Name and pick OK. And we'll add the fields again, number, name, and we'll highlight area and add that as our third field. Now let's add a parameter. We can go ahead and pick Add Parameter and type in here Cost, C-O-S-T, for the name, and the type of parameter will be a number based on the cost per square feet. We'll pick OK. And now we'll calculate a value. Pick Calculate Value and type in for its name cost per square feet. And now we'll change the type to area, and the formula will be area times or asterisk cost, and it has to be typed out exactly as the fields are so that we're going to multiply automatically in this column the area times the cost. Go ahead and pick OK. In the sorting and grouping tab, we can put a check mark on grand totals, and in the formatting tab we'll highlight cost per square foot and then change the alignment to right and put a check mark under calculate totals. Pick the field format button because by default the unit symbol will be square feet, and we don't want that for the cost per square feet, so we'll take the check mark out of Use Project Settings and change the unit symbol to none. Pick OK. Now you can change the appearance and other things about the schedule. We'll go ahead and keep the default settings and pick OK. And notice here that you have a column cost estimating schedule, and now you can add the cost here for that material or for that room based on cost estimates from Means book or an established cost estimating standard that your office uses. So the numbers will be different. We'll type in 110 as a default, and when we do that, here you will see the numbers calculated with the grand totals. And the AIA has other cost estimating tools here, giving you an estimate of a typical office building between 80 to 150 per square feet, and that ranges. The important thing here is to show you that you can add parameters within a schedule and calculate values within those cells. We can go back to the sheet that we were working with here in the project browser, and then under schedules we can drag and drop our cost estimate into our sheet. Inside these sheets that we're establishing, you can change here the project name to your name if you like. and the title that fits your portfolio. Okay, in the View tab, you can use a guide grid on your sheets. When you create a new guide grid, you can give it a name so that you can assign that one to more than one sheet. You can select that guide grid and crop it by dragging here these small blue grips. And then in Properties, you can change the grid spacing. So for the guide spacing, change that to 2 inches. And you'll see that the grid changes its size. Levels, grids, model crop regions, reference planes, schedule extents can all snap to this grid. So if, for example, you want to move this schedule, you can establish a base point and snap it to that grid so that you can line them up.